Okay, so Big Bug. Hey everyone, I'm Ron Todd, a professional YouTuber who makes professional videos, and this is my review of Transformers Legacy Kickback. So, apparently Hasbro has decided to make a brand new set of deluxe class Insecticons, so despite the fact that I just recently was able to get my hands on the Prime Wars Insecticons, here I am starting all over. So we start off with Kickback, and apparently they're going to be doing what they did with the last Insecticon sets and make them to where it's one released per year. The next one apparently being Shrapnel, if some leaked listings are to be believed. So that's kind of depressing because now we have to wait a year in order to get the next Insecticons. And right now it's just Kickback on my shelf. But whatever. So let's start in his insect mode. So Kickback is about as simple as you can get for an insect mode. Basically just the robot laying down. He's got 6 legs, 3 there and 3 there. Got his head with the antenna being kind of flexible, which is nice. Got the big wings, which has this weird kind of like organic pattern on it, which is certainly something. And you may be noticing that he's supposed to be a grasshopper, but he doesn't have the big thorax sticking out of the back. And so I don't believe the original Kickback toy had a thorax, so the cartoon didn't have a thorax either. So I normally just keep it like this, because I love me some cartoon accuracy, which is why I am the only human being who loves what the modern day Transformers Generations line is becoming. However, if you really want to have a thorax, you can use his Energon weapon. There's this hole right there, so you can just stick this up his butt. Oh wait, now I'm doing this the wrong way. There's 2 pegs. You can use this side and stick it up his butt. No, it is the other way. Weird. I'm sorry, everyone. So you can stick it up his butt, and there you go. You have a thorax sort of thing. Doesn't look all that great. I have the feeling the reason they included this was because they later on retooled this figure into the Deluxe Insecticon Ransack. For those of you who don't know, the Deluxe Insecticons... So these black and purple guys are what most people think when they hear the term Insecticons. However, back in '85, there were actually 2 different teams of Insecticons. The ones that everyone knows, Kickback, Bombshell, and Shrapnel. And then there were the Deluxe Insecticons, which were Chop Shop, Barrage, Venom, yes, Venom, like the Marvel superhero, and Ransack. And they were bigger and were different insects and whatever. But see, the reason we know the main 3 is because they were imports from Diaclone, like a lot of the other Transformers toys at the time. However, the Deluxe Insecticons weren't, and because the toy line that they were imported from was from a different toy manufacturer, Hasbro wasn't allowed to put them in the cartoon. And so, as such, that's why the Deluxe Insecticons are relatively forgotten and are relegated to basically just retools of the other Insecticons. Like we saw Shrapnel get retooled in the Chop Shop back in, I want to say, Combiner Wars, and we're seeing Ransack be done up from Kickback here because they were kind of the same insects. I'm not really a big fan of that because the Deluxe Insecticons looked a whole lot different from these guys. I would love to see new Deluxe Insecticon toys, however, I don't really see Hasbro doing it because they're not really popular characters because they weren't in the cartoon. But whatever. So I guess what I have to say about this bug mode is it's really static. Like, you'd think for an animal mode having more movable joints and stuff, it's just, it'll be more dynamic, but no, it's not. See, it's not like all the beast modes from Kingdom to where they actually kind of had like cool animal bits and more realistic styling and intuitive transformations if you don't count Rhinox, because Rhinox sucks. His transformation sucks. The figure's pretty great, but everything about the transformation is horrible. Yeah, this guy is effectively just a robot lying down. Like, look at it. You can just see the robot mode pretty much right there. So it just doesn't really look all that great. Like, I get it. It's basically just like an updated version of the original toy. But I mean, like, really, come on. To be fair, I do kind of prefer this over the Titan's Return Kickback simply because it is way less fiddly than that one. Or rather, the transformation is way less fiddly. This bug mode is fiddly as all heck. The Titan's Return one is much more stable because it doesn't have the... Because apart from the robot mode legs turning into the rear legs, the front legs are formed not for the robot mode arms of the Titan's Return one. I don't know where I'm going with this. So speaking of transformations and whatnot, let's get to the transformation. So you're going to want to start by taking these little feet thingies and just kind of collapsing them in, then folding these legs up there. Robot mode feet pop out from the back. These whole wings just rotate upwards. Then this leg here flips around to form the fist, and then this other leg just kind of collapses into the back of the arm. Do the same thing over here. Then you flip it around, you flip this little mask back, and then rotate the head around, and you're done. Now see, when it comes to transformations, I love it when my Transformers figures have transformations that are simple but really fun to pull off. Some of my favorite Transformers transformations in recent years have been Siege Sideswipe, Studio Series Grimlock, Earthrise Grapple, and oddly enough, Legacy G-Axis. We'll get to him in a while, but he has a great transformation. But see, Kickback here is really, really simple, but it's not necessarily the funnest to pull off. You just kind of flip the bug mode legs into the arms and legs and stand them up. It's simple, but it's just too simple. I kind of like my simple transformations to have some sort of fun, satisfying aspect. Like, think Grimlock, when you swing the little shoulder wing thingies down to form the front of the Dino mode, or Siege Sideswipe, slamming the hood of the car down to form the chest plate. Like, that's a fun move to pull off. But here, there's really nothing fun about it. It's just too simple. But my goodness, if it doesn't result in a beautiful looking robot mode. They pushed cartoon accuracy on this thing hard, and it shows. However, it looks fantastic because of it. Before we get into talking about the rest of the figure proper, let's just get to this part and do the articulation. So he has a pauldron at the head. You move it up and down and left and right. You may notice mine is a really loose head. I played around with every single figure, or with every single Kickback they had at Walmart, and they all had a really loose head like this. So yeah, I'm assuming that's just kind of a common issue with the figure. Universal joint at the shoulder, so he can move his arm out and all the way around. Something I like is that the wings here, even though they do pivot, they're designed to not move with the rest of the arm. That's a really nice little touch. Swivel at the elbow, and due to the way it transforms, you can really get some range on there. Swivel there as well. He does not have a wrist swivel, which is unfortunate. He has a waist swivel, universal joint at the hips, move his arm out, forward, and back. Bend at the knee, and standard angle pivot. However, it's kind of strange in that you'd expect the entire bottom half of the leg to move. However, this panel stays fixed, and this is just the part that pivots. It's kind of weird. It's just not what I'm used to in a lot of these figures. So in terms of accessories, he has 3. The main one I use is this gun here, which is based directly off of his gun from the cartoon. Got some nice silver and purple paint on there. I really like this little thing down here. Kind of makes it look like a space Tommy gun. This is the primary weapon I display him with, because I think it looks pretty good. He also has what is somewhat standard in the Legacy line. I already showed these off in the bug mode. These are his Energon weapons. The Legacy line has like clear weapons in some of their figures. Some of them have them, some of them don't. Specifically, the core class guys don't, and also the Stunticons don't for some reason, which sucks because that's the one time I would have loved to see each one come with a part of like a big, massive, clear purple sword for Menasor to use. That would have been awesome. But whatever. He has these big, purple, clear But it has blades, swords, like, I don't know what these are. You can hold them. You hold them like a big sword if you want him to have that. And there's also a peg here, so you can put it on his arm, and that would be like an arm blade. I mean, that one doesn't really stay that well. And I probably should have mentioned this in the bug mode, but it has these tabs on the side which line up with holes in the wings. So if you want, see if I can get this here. If you want, you can put them on his wings. So you can have like bigger purple wings. And we'll give it this. It's a unique way of weapon storage. As stated, I've never really been the biggest fan of these. I really just kind of prefer to display them with the normal accessory the figure has, as these just look kind of wonky. However, I do think these are probably the coolest Energon weapons out of Wave 1, solely due to the fact that purple is my favorite color, so these being in clear purple like that looks really nice. So yes, getting onto the figure himself, I love how clean this is. There's no backpack, there's really no kibble anywhere unless you count the little bug legs hanging off the back. And even then, that's really nothing too terrible. Granted, it's probably just due to the simplicity of the transformation, but man, this figure just looks fantastic, especially in comparison to the Titan's Return one, which was this weird spindly mess. And due to the way it transforms, you have to fold the whole arms down, the forward and the back of the bug mode. It's really fiddly, and it's just not fun. With this guy, his transformation isn't fun either. That's just due to the fact that there's just nothing interesting about it. And probably the coolest part is just how the legs split out like that. And yes, I should probably be obligated to mention this. The figure has this weird hinge joint on his chest plate. You may be thinking, oh, it like opens up. Yeah, no, this does nothing. You can't open it up. Believe me, I tried. Someone actually was... I'm assuming it's like glued down, but someone actually pried it open with a screwdriver, and there's just nothing underneath there but just like bare chest. So I believe the point of this was because the original Kickback was a Diaclone toy, and Diaclone toys were designed to fit little drivers. And so the little hatch for the driver was in chest plate. So I'm assuming they just threw in this hinge as a little reference to that, but it really serves absolutely zero purpose. So there's really no reason to have it here. But whatever, I guess it's cool. I do like the transparent yellow on the chest plate. That does look really good. It kind of like frames that Decepticon symbol. So yeah, also I should probably mention his antenna articulated. Does that count as articulation? So yes, complaints. Really simple transformation. Like, too simple. I don't like it. Really wobbly head. That's not too good. No wrist swivel. But let's face it, a lot of the deluxe class figures don't have wrist swivels, which really makes me mad, but, you know, whatever. Clear plastic chest hinge that does nothing. That's kind of a negative in that it's there for no reason, but a positive in that, hey, there's not a transparent plastic hinge that'll destroy itself. Pros, on the other hand, very great looking robot mode, very clean looking, really no backpack or kibble or anything. Fantastic levels of articulation if you don't count the wrist swivel. I feel like this pretty much makes up for that. And on top of that, being just kind of a generally better figure than the Titan's Return toy. So, I guess, like, if you didn't get the Prime Wars Insecticons, then this guy's definitely a pickup for you. However, if you have the Prime Wars guys and you honestly don't really mind them, like I'm not the biggest fan of the Prime Wars Insecticons. I only bought them because, oh, I found a guy selling all of them, and I'll just go ahead and buy them. So, I think this guy's better than Titan's Return Kickback, for sure. However, if you have the Prime Wars set and you really don't want to go all in on this new one, then by all means, don't buy this guy. He's cool, but I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just not really a big fan of having to wait a year in between each Insecticon release. Like, we're getting all 5 Stunticons this year. Why can't you just put an Insecticon in each wave? I mean, you only have to do 3 of them. Just saying. So, in terms of the deluxe class figures so far, I'd say Kickback is the bottom. Skids is just like slightly above him because I don't really think Skids is the best either. And then Drag Strip eclipses both of them. So that's how I'd rank them so far. So yes, Kickback. Average figure. Great robot mode, not very great bug mode. So with all that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and this has been Rod and Todd signing off.